working diligently, organizing and raising funds to make this evening possible. I thank them publicly for their support, leadership, and commitment. Jim Harris, Dick Bodorf, Bill Boyd, Charlie Caputi, Richard Tillman, Tom Hill, Bill Lane, Graham Lee, Al Smith, and your MC. I also thank our sponsors who have given so much to help make this happen. We thank our Platinum Eagle sponsor this year, Jim Harris. His name just keeps coming up. Our honoree, our Life Scout sponsors, the Children's Family Foundation and the Thomas Hash Foundation, and our Star Scout sponsors, Dick Bernstein and Fran Henry Keith. Please know that 100% of the money raised this year will go directly to the Scouts here in the Chop Tank District. Scouting programs prepare youth for the challenges they will face as adults by instilling in them the values and leadership skills they will need to make the right decisions in life. Your contribution to this event helps to provide the funds necessary to deliver quality scouting programs that positively influence the lives of youth. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, make our country a little bit better. A full list of the many sponsors for this evening's event will be featured following this evening's remarks, as well as the Delmarva Council's Facebook page. The program for the evening's event and the Delmarva Council's website. Now I ask Scout Executive of Delmarva Council, Boy Scouts of America, Robert Nagagawa, God, I got that right, to come forward for a few comments. Robert?
Thank you. Aloha. I can't tell you how privileged and pleased I am to be at this virtual event. What a great opportunity and what a true tribute and testament to the amount of money that we collected for this special event in honor of Jim Harris and the support of the Scouts. It's a unique time that we're in with COVID at this time in history that we've never faced before as a world. And to come together to support the Boy Scouts like this means the world to us. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it and the impact that it makes. We're currently serving over 5,000 kids in the peninsula, and we have some bright future ahead of us. To find inspiration is funny. You find it wherever you are in many locations, and of all places, my son was watching Spider-Man, a Marvel movie, and his Uncle Ben was sitting with Peter Parker in the car, and he was saying, Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. And Jim, you've got great power, and it may not be the same like Spider-Man where you're shooting spider webs or jumping over buildings or like Superman or any other superhero, but you have the power of influence. And because of the things that you've done here on the Eastern Shore and your career and the amount that you've given back to the community, we were able to recognize you, and the Boy Scouts has benefited greatly in having a record-setting year in the funds that we've generated in these trying times. And that's a true testament for you and the influence that you have in the communities that you live in and serve. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your power, use of your influence to allow us to have this opportunity to help us carry out the mission of the Boy Scouts of America. We have a bright future ahead of us. We spent the day earlier this afternoon at the office distributing popcorn to a number of our Scout units that are picking it up. And it was a true privilege to be there with one of our newest units that was just organized this COVID season, if you will, just a month or two ago. And what's unique about this new unit that was just organized, there's 2 young men that are 15 years old that just joined, and a 16-year-old girl that joined the girls troop that's linked together. And they're so excited about participating in the scouting program and the opportunity that they have to earn their Eagle Scout, earn their welding merit badge and metalwork merit badge, and go on this upcoming camporee that we're about to have. Our future is bright. And I don't know about you, but I had, we call it chicken skin, goosebumps, if you will, when our color guard was presenting the colors. Even in this virtual event, the spirit is with us, the spirit of scouting, to be able to feel just the special occasion that it is with our Sea Scouts who presented the colors and the impact that we're able to make with this investment in our future. And our kids are the future of our country and of our community. And I'm really pleased to say that the $70,000 raised for this special event recognizing you is a huge investment in the lives of our youth so that we can go forward and pay it forward by investing and instilling the values of the oath and law in our youth to make ethical choice over the lifetime. So Jim, thank you so much for the life's work that you've done and partnering with us and sharing your influence with us so that we can make an impact in the lives of these kids. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Robert. All of us have been impressed by your passionate leadership. Thank you for being here. In scouting, there is no higher rank than Eagle. Nationwide, being an Eagle Scout is really a rare honor. Out of over 83 million scouts in the U.S. in the past century, only about 4% have earned the Eagle rank. It's probably the only thing a young person can do as a teenager that they can keep putting on their resume for the rest of their life. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle Scout. It's notable that Eagle Scouts represent 10% of our service academies populations. Eagle Scouts have had a profound impact on American history. No question, and will play a lasting role in our country's future. This evening, we have one of those young people with us who has earned the rank of Eagle Scout. I'm pleased to introduce you to one of the Choptank District's finest young men, Eagle Scout Paul Dyer, Jr. of Troop 199. Now, Paul, before you come up, I want to recognize your parents who are here, and your father, Paul, who's looked at some incipient cataracts in my eyes, and has helped many of us with aging eyes. And Paul, we're proud to have you here.
I'm a little tall, I gotta fix it. It's not coming.
That's right.
Okay.
That's why you're an Eagle Scout.
That's right.
I actually saw one of those surgeries yesterday, and it was really amazing. So I'm glad he helped you out with that. Yeah. Good evening. My name is Paul Dyer Jr. I'm 17 years old, and I'm starting my senior year in St. Peter Paul High School. I actually started today. It was a great first day with the new revisions with the COVID. And I would like to extend my congratulations to Jim Harris for his Distinguished Citizen Award. Like, that's amazing. Yeah. Ever since first grade, I've been active in Troop 190, and whether it was Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts, I remember having 20 fellow Cub Scouts in my wolf den all that while ago, and over the past 11 years, from those 20 Cub Scouts, it slimmed down to just my friend Gabriel Pentusa and myself. I thought that was amazing that only us two really stuck with it. Gabe and I are still best friends, and he's almost an Eagle Scout just like me. I really can't say enough good things about my scouting career or about the people that supported me through it, especially my parents, Paul and Kimberly, and my Scoutmaster, Mr. Prettyman. Every other year, if you're in high school, my troop has this 50-mile hike on the Appalachian Trail, and that is a bear, let me tell you. So from sleepless nights to hiking in downpours to venomous snakes and like angry mama bears, and like hikes like these are no Susie Q endeavor at all because they're tough. So I've learned a lot from Scouts. That's an understatement. To name a few, I learned about accountability, responsibility, and of course I had tons of fun in the meantime. And most of all, I learned how to lead. So if there's anything that fine-tunes leadership skills, it's one of those things is definitely Eagle Scout project. So what I did, I found 9 veterans from the Eastern Shore. I rounded them up. Well, I interviewed one of them at a time, and I sat down with each of them for like about 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So some had a lot to say, some were short but sweet. And I put all those videos, all the interview footage into an editing program, and I edited out all the parts that like were kind of got a little tiring because it's hard for them to keep a story sometimes, but when they do, it's very interesting, and I'm glad I did. And then I took all those edits and I put it into a CD or 2 CDs and donated it to the Talbot County Free Library, so that for in the future, like many other people can see it, and that the sacrifice that these men made for us can be like preserved through that. Like that was the purpose of why I want to do that project. And one powerful moment I'd like to share that happened during the second interview I conducted out of 9. It was with Mr. Joseph Maslowski, and he served as a signalman in the Navy during Vietnam. And the topic of returning home came up like at the end of the interview. After like an hour we talked, he had like a bunch of funny stories, and like that was my favorite one. Well, I don't want to pick a favorite, but that was it. And the topic of returning home came up, and this grizzled war veteran cracked up when he told me that it wasn't until like 40 years later that his service, like after his service, that he actually got a proper thank you home. And without being able to have the opportunity to do an Eagle Scout project like that, without my career in scouting, I wouldn't have had that moment or have interviewed all those 9 veterans, because they really loved me to interview them. And yeah, I'd just like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak at this. Really proud of getting Eagle Scout, and I'm glad that it'll like stick with me forever. So congratulations to Jim Harris, and thanks for letting me speak. Yeah, thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Paul. I think I had the wrong troop. I said 199, 190. And Paul and Kimberly must feel awfully proud. And you should. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. And now for the reason that we were all here tonight. Jim Harris, a good friend, an outstanding person, an Eagle Scout from a small town in Southwest Virginia, is truly thankful for his scouting experience and committed to its future. It's my pleasure to ask Dick Bodorf, last year's honoree, also an Eagle Scout, to come forward to formally present the award to Jim Harris. I also asked Delmarva Council's Robert, I'm not going to pronounce your last name, so come forward, please, to join them for the presentation. Nagagawa. I did it a second time.
Mr. Harris, you need to come forward for us. There you go. It is my great pleasure and privilege to present to you, Jim Harris, on behalf of the Boy Scouts of America, Delmarva Council, the 2020 Distinguished Citizen Award for the Midshore. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Dick.
Well-deserved honor.
Thank you, sir.
Midshore, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I have a few remarks to make. Notes, okay? But first of all, some thank yous. I really want to say thank you to both the donors and supporters. And I'd like to say that there are donors and supporters here in I'll say the Talbot County and the Midshore area. But there's also a group of donors and supporters that are from outside of Maryland, who are Pam and my friends and dear and cherished friends that we've had for many, many, many years and decades in some cases. So I want to thank both groups for their support for the Boy Scouts of America and for making that in honor of me. So thank you. I'd also like to thank Howard and the committee for their work to bring this forward. We had meetings, I think, starting in March. We had some questions about whether we were going to do this. The pandemic was underway at that time, but we persisted. And Billy Boyd said, we need to figure out how to make this virtual, and we're going to stick with September the 3rd. And we did, and thank goodness we did that. and focused on the fundraising and effort needed to make this a real success. I want to thank Howard and Dick and Rabbi Hyman, Robert, as well as Paul Dyer for being here and being a part of the program. So thank you all for that. I also want to thank Shana and the staff at the Delmarva Council for the work they've done to get us organized and keep us on track. My additional thank you, which I would be remiss in not saying, is to my wife, Pam. So she had a vision and a persistence to have a second home. And when we found this home in Maryland 27 plus years ago, she made it our home. And our daughter, for instance, considers this her home. And so we're all very proud to have been here, but we wouldn't have the opportunity to work with and be friends with all of you here in Maryland if it weren't for Pam's vision and persistence to pull this off. So thank you, honey. Also, I'd like to say how much I've enjoyed working with the talented staff at the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum and at the Academy Art Museum. Kristen Greenaway and Ben Simons have been just superb leaders and have shown their mettle as they've responded to the pandemic and the challenges that that's brought on. They've taken quick action, they've taken thoughtful action, and the museums are both persisting in continuing to operate and are now open to the public. And I really applaud both of them for what they've done to make that all possible. I'd also like to say how blessed we are as a community to have these two organizations and the many others that serve the varied needs of the Midshore. Think about all the things that we know of that are involved, that happen here in the nonprofit world, and they're all so impactful here. And it's been an honor to work with others who, like me, are not native, but who've decided to be involved and supportive of the community in which we've chosen to live. Their commitment, dedication, and contributions and support are a real testament of the strength of this community and the leadership of those individuals that we've had a chance to get to know and are making this community what it is today. I'd like now to turn to scouting a little bit and talk about my experiences as an 11 to 16-year-old when I was a scout in Benton, Virginia, which is a little town right next to Roanoke, Virginia. I'd say it helped prepare me for a successful college and work career. Learning new skills and learning them within the framework of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law set a foundation for me and many others upon which to be a positive contributor to society. So I'm really very happy to have done that as a kid. I brought my merit badge sash with me. Yeah. Brooke dug it out of the closet for me. But I wanted to use that in a brief digression to make a couple of points. I'll pick out a couple of merit badges to tell a story. So in this little town of Benton, the fathers, including mine, got together and created a scout troop because they were looking for something for their boys to do other than sports and school. And some of them became merit badge counselors as well as committeemen and so on and so forth. But two badges in particular are a story I want to tell. One is a bugling merit badge. My daughter gets to hear me bugle every now and then for waking up everybody Christmas morning and so forth. But I was in the band as a youngster and I played the trumpet. I thought it was pretty good. And the merit badge counselor for bugling was the band director and at our high school. He would not let me pass the bugling merit badge until I got every note correct on every one of the tunes or calls or whatever that you have to do for the merit badge. he made me come back at least 2 more times. So 3 times, maybe 4 times. He said, Harris, you got to get it right. And when I think back on that, what he did, it instilled in me a demand for perfection, to do it right and learn it in detail so that you could continue to remember it for the rest of your life. So that was one lesson. The other lesson with the merit badges had to do with the electricity merit badge. Now, I was always fascinated. I used to make gunpowder, and I almost caught my mother's house on fire, my father's house on fire. I used to do all sorts of stuff, but electricity really did intrigue me. And so you buy, we had to save our own money. You know, people didn't just give you a merit badge, but you had to earn your money through odd jobs and so forth to be able to buy your merit badge book. And so I had the electricity merit badge book, and I thought I understood that completely. I had the little thing set up with the battery and the voltmeter and so on and so forth, and I really loved that. So the merit badge counselor for electricity was on the other side of Roanoke. So my dad on a Saturday afternoon drove me over there. I called the guy and made an appointment. And the counselor ensured that I knew all the material in the book. And he was very meticulous about that. And then he said, I want you to demonstrate for me your soldering skills. Needless to say, my soldering skills were very deficient. That man spent 20 minutes or more with me teaching me how to really solder a couple of wires together. Now, some of you know that I have a hobby called railroading. I have a model railroad that's a model of Roanoke and Benton, Virginia over there in the garage. But I still use those soldering techniques today, and the electricity merit badge is the foundation of knowing what's going on the train set. So those are just 2 examples of somebody not only requiring perfection, but your parent taking the time to drive you to the other side of town and wait on you for about an hour for you to do that. And then also basically learning a new skill, in this case, a STEM skill for electricity. And there's so many STEM opportunities in the merit badge portfolio. So that was all kind of meaningful to me. I'm proud to be an Eagle Scout, but more fundamentally, I'm happy that I learned the values taught by scouting. A young boy or a young girl participating in scouting repeats the oath and the scout law like we did earlier in this program. Think about the words here for a second. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. And how much more powerful could those 15 or so words be just unto themselves? To do my duty. The second one is to obey the scout law. Now, we've heard all of the various scout laws. I'll just say a few of them. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient. Just think about how much better society would be if more people followed these points and made it part of their fundamental way of conducting their lives. A third point in the oath is to help other people at all times. It reminds us to be generous, to ask questions about how you can be helpful to somebody like me now who is aged and may need to be helped across the street every now and then. But being helpful is, in a broad sense, is helping people less fortunate than we. So that's something to keep in mind. And then to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. That also implies an awful lot to the way you must lead your life. But what a wonderful set of values that this provides. And our nation and any organization, whether for profit or nonprofit or whatever, could really benefit from having more people exposed to the Scout Oath and Scout laws, as well as merit badges. You learn a lot. There's citizenship in here. There's citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the community. There's first aid. There's life saving. There's there's some required merit badges that are not easy to get, but they're fun to get. I'll also say another thing is that you don't need to be an Eagle Scout to learn from scouting. Being involved in scouting could be so beneficial to society if we had more boys and more girls involved in scouting. To me, as a kid, it was a game changer. It was transitional. You didn't know it at the time, but you look back on it, and that's what it was. It could be that kind of game changer for other kids in this day and time. In my view, scouting has an opportunity to help fill a void today during this pandemic. Parents are looking for stuff for their kids to do besides Zoom or classes and so forth. They are looking for opportunities to interact and learn things that can be very useful to them. You can do a lot in your home and in your backyard to earn merit badges and become a second class and a first class scout. There's lots that can be done. So learning how to present scouting material to a broader audience in such a way, using Zoom technology or other meeting technologies, it's got to be a way forward. My wife required me to get a haircut this morning. So I was talking to the lady that was cutting my hair. She said, "Why are you getting a haircut?" So anyway, I told her about this event tonight, and she said, "Scouting, that's a great idea." And while I was sitting there with her, I Googled Boy Scout troops near me and put in the zip code for Easton, Maryland. There are 4 of them. And one's a girl troop and 3 are boy troops, 2 in Easton and 1 in St. Michael's. Fantastic opportunities for her kids. And she says, "I am going to look this up and call them and find out from that lady, the ladies at the Presbyterian Church, I think it is, about the girl troop and how she can get her 2 girls involved in it." So my challenge to all of you on the Zoom, as well as here, is when you see your children and their grandchildren and other people who have kids of the age of roughly 8 through 15, tell them about scouting. Tell them how to get involved. Help them look it up on the internet and get them involved, because it can be so powerful for them and for us as a society. So again, I want to say thanks to all of you who have joined us today, both virtually as well as here. Thank my wife for organizing this thing here tonight with all the, we have beautiful weather right now. The storm is approaching from Annapolis right now, but we're okay right now. But when you run into parents who are at their wits' end about what to do for kids, remember, help them find scouting in their community. So thank you again for being so supportive and for being such good friends of Pam's and mine for so many years. And I really appreciate the honor and appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you to raise some money for scouting. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim.
Oh, Jim, I would think your friends and family will agree.
Congratulations, Jim.
You've done it right. You've done it right. And we're so proud and pleased to honor Jim this evening. He epitomizes the intrinsic value of scouting. And we also thank his wife for her support of Jim and scouting. Thank you, Pam. On behalf of the Delmarva Council and the nearly 10,000 boys and girls who are members and participants in scouting on the Delmarva Peninsula, thanks so much for attending this evening. On behalf of the committee, I thank the District Councils Shana Atkins and Paul Odom, leadership from Robert Nakakawa, I got that right, for their support. As previously mentioned, take a few moments when we close to observe the recognition of our sponsors. At this time, I invite Rabbi Hyman to offer a benediction. Peter?
Thanks, Howard. If I could take 1 second. Baden-Powell was asked, and he actually wrote it in an essay, why he developed scouting. And he wrote that in an insane world, he hoped scouting would bring a little sanity to the world in which he was living. I don't know if you can see the background on my picture. All right? The palm trees in that building, and I'm not doing this to brag, I want to make a point. That picture was taken in Saudi Arabia. I'm standing, you can't see it, but I'm standing with three other scouts, 2 from Saudi Arabia and 1 from Africa. I was brought there and sent there and invited there by the scouts of the World Scout Foundation and the Saudi Scouts. Scouting, everything Jim said is correct, everything Howard said is correct. Scouting can change the world. My prayer and our prayer is that we will be a blessing to those we serve, and that our work will be a blessing to ourselves in the mission not only of scouting, but of bringing peace to the world. Amen.